you we're going to have some fun in this one. I'll tell you, you ain't seen nothing yet. This is going to be pretty exciting here. You ever get in a rut with your photography? Well, I sure have. I'll tell you what I did. I sat down and I created a whole bunch of crazy ideas to get out of the camera room rut. See this here pipe here? That's one of those crazy ideas. I'll tease you a little bit because I'll show you how this works later on. You're just going to love it. How about the old gun? Not a real one, of course. But I'll tell you, it's just one of those ideas that'll help you out at camera room rut. We got books, we got beds, we got a crazy puppet down here that's going to help you out. We got this pipe laying here. The doggone old milk bottle's even got a crazy idea to help you out. And how about the old Windex bottle? And we got hats. Yes, sir, we got hats that's going to help you out of that camera room rut. And don't forget the bare feet now. Oh, we're going to have some fun, as I say in this one. You stick around. It's going to be dynamite. Bring a puppet into your camera room. This beautiful glamour portrait is one we do with many of our seniors. It's one that's very popular. It's one that we have a lot of fun with. Want to know why we have fun with it? Let's come back and let's analyze this pose. This pose is a puppet. We'll take the puppet away. Hi, how are you? Oh, I'm fine. We have so much fun with this pose. And it's also a very nice glamour pose. We can also do it with a brown puppet if we'd like to. We'll just slip that hat on our pretty model Julie here, flip that hair back, and we'll have her put her hand right in this little old puppet, hold it right up here, and now we've got a brown coat collar here. We'll arrange her hair quickly, come right on down there. And then we'll come right on back in with the camera. We'll drop our vignetter into the camera. We'll feather our fill. And we've got a puppet pose with the brown puppet. Invite a model in and do poses that you've never done before in your life. That's what we're doing here. We're showing you how we can do vastly different things just to kind of keep our creative juices flowing and instill new, different poses in our repertoire. Now this pose is kind of an interesting one because we have the full-length pose, and it's kind of a typical average thing that a teenager might do. But we also can come in very strongly and do a three-quarter view. So we actually have two poses here that are both quite nice, and we would do those both while we had her in her pose. This is the type pose that stimulates you to create new and different and exciting things in the camera room, but it also helps please your customer because they like these too, in addition, of course, to the traditional poses. Let's talk a little bit about how we decide to do something like this, something new. Let's turn up the house lights here, and we'll relax our model Maureen here. And what I do when I try to do something different is I'll bring out a prop or something and I say, how do people normally use this? Well, normally they got their fanny here and their back here, so let's just flip the coin. In other words, what would happen if we would just put the feet up, the head down? And of course that's how we arrive at this. You might do that with a chair. How do they normally sit on a chair? They normally sit frontwards, right? What if you turn the chair around and have them straddle the back and sit over it? There you have a different, new, and exciting pose. Try this with anything. Take a pose that you've used or a prop that you've used and analyze it and say, how do people normally use it? What if I did it just exactly the opposite? That will help you lead into new, different, and exciting poses. Invite a model in. Make one rule to yourself, one promise to yourself. I am going to pose her in 10 different ways. Not one of them will be anything that I've ever done before in my life. It'll challenge you, it'll excite you, it'll get those juices flowing, and you'll find some things in there that you can use and advance and expand upon your repertoire. It's exciting. That's what keeps the blood running and makes photography so much fun. This is one of the ideas that'll cause you to get out of that camera room rut. Believe me, a pet will do it. The way I like to work with pets is I like to use little noisemakers. So get their attention right there. Now we're going to get a little smile out of Maureen. There we go. There's our exposures. It's that simple. Pets are something that you never know what they're going to do, and when you get, and look at that, how he posed himself, and when you get a pet in the studio, you're going to be out of the rut automatically. We'll take one more here. Good, good. Listen to your customers. They will offer you suggestions to break your routine. Today's senior needs something different. We have in our studio our graffiti wall, which we just open out. Then we'll bring our lovely model Julie out. Come on out, Julie. That's just beautiful. And we'll just let her pose in kind of a sassy little pose here against that. Good, beautiful. We'll just step back here and we'll make our exposure. And what we've done is we've broken the rut, we've gotten ourselves out of the routine, and we've also given our subject something that's really modern and that they really desire. Backwards in the chair trick. You know, a high school senior boy came into my camera room one day and he sat down in a chair with his back toward the camera. And of course I expected the old cliche, I want you to show my better side. But here's what he said. It was kind of interesting, and it led to a new, different, exciting pose. He said, Marty, he said, I want you to show the number on the back of my football jersey. He says, I only have it on the back. And he said, that number is important to me, and I'd like to have a kind of a remembrance of it. Well, that's right down my alley, so I had to figure out a way to show this so we could put it in his proof folio. So I first thought of a mirror, and of course that makes the number backwards. So what I did is I just set him down facing his back toward the camera, and we worked into kind of a 3/4 profile pose. Now what this has done for us, it has expanded our repertoire, and now what we do now is we photograph girls this way too. In fact, many of our seniors and our subjects are photographed backward in the chair. With a girl, we face them backwards, and then we give them a little flower to hold, and we do kind of a profile with nice dramatic lighting, and it really works out well. So let me share this pose with you, and maybe it can expand your repertoire as it has ours here too. So I'll back out and we'll turn down the house lights, and we'll get Chip kind of posed up and tipped in here, and we'll have him turn his head just a little bit, and I believe we've got just about what we want. So we can see that the number shows. We've got kind of a dramatic pose like he's sitting on the bench looking at the ball game. The challenge in this exercise is to use just one light to produce an acceptable portrait in our studio. I think we've met the challenge here, and we've produced a nice profile light on Kevin and a split light on Becky, and we've put Kevin's profile in Becky. This handsome couple may be engaged, they may be friends, but the challenge, as we say, is to use one light to produce the portrait. Let's turn up the house lights now and look at this pose a little bit. We've also incorporated another crazy idea in this particular pose. We've used the black claws, and when we want to do this, we want the heads to just swim in a sea of black. It produces a very different, striking, dramatic portrait. And of course, that's the purpose of this entire video session, this module, is to stimulate your creative juices and to get you out of any camera room rut that it's so easy to fall into as professional photographers. So this is an overview of this particular pose, the lighting, and the little ideas that we use to achieve the effect of one light. Only one light was used, no reflector, nothing else, and the heads just seem to float. And I think you'll find this to be a very acceptable portrait, one that they would just love to have as an artistic portrait in their living room wall someday after the wedding bells ding-a-ling-a-ling. Let's go back and look at the pose one more time. We keep a set of posing books in our studio. Just in case we kind of run dry in the well, we'll go to these posing books and we'll open the books, and it gives us ideas on poses that we can try. Whenever I see a nice pose, whether it was taken by a magazine photographer, a friend, Montgomery Ward's catalog, wherever I see it, I'll clip the pose out if it's a little different and put it in the posing book. under the category. We have one for babies, children, couples, families, and whenever I'm just not quite satisfied that I'm prepared for the sitting, and I know that the subject's about to arrive, I'll go to the book, I'll pull it out, I'll just refresh my memory, and it serves as a great starter for the sitting. Get a couple of poses in mind, and it really helps out over the course of the year when you just feel like, I just can't think of what to do for this particular sitting. Try it. Normally we have the background light facing the background, but if you want that super dramatic impact photograph for your young people and even older folks, all you have to do is turn that background light around and face it toward the subject. Let's see what happens when we do that. First we'll feather the fill. That's great right there, going down, there we go, and then we'll bring up our background light. Look what happens. That's dramatic, astonishing. Put these in your portfolios, your proof portfolios. Your subject will love you, and it's got to force you out of that old habit pattern. Colored gels are something that your customer will really enjoy, that creates something a little different in their sittings. As long as we have our backlit subject, all we do is put these over the backlight. They can have a gentle, mild amber like that. And what I do is I just let my customer look right in the mirror. I put some of them on the backlight and let them decide what they like. There's a blue that goes with a nice blue sweater. And we can do a red. The red's a very popular color among the youngsters. Sometimes the seniors and the younger people like them. And mamas don't like them quite so well, but I wouldn't do a whole lot of them, but one or two in each sitting seems like everybody likes that. We can have a red or a green. Let me show you a little trick that we can do very easily here. We can put red and green together on that background, on that backlight, I mean, and we've got red on one side, green on the other. It's dynamite, something that creates something neat and different in your sittings. It can be fun and exciting to make your own diffusion materials, and a little bit of your wife's fingernail polish, a pin, and an inexpensive UV filter, and you can have a diffuser that's homemade and suited to your own specifications. The best way I've discovered to create your own diffusers is with a little of your wife's fingernail polish or some clear spray in a small vessel. Dip a head of a pin in the fingernail polish and come in from underneath and just dot it. And dot it around the edge, and the more dots you put in, the more diffusion that you'll have. So you can decide how much diffusion you want, and the more dots, the more diffusion. Now, if you come from underneath, then you'll have better luck than if you come from the top and try to touch it, because sometimes the fingernail polish will just kind of pancake out and you can't control it. So try this. I think you'll find it's kind of fun. Plumes and sheer drapes. Two items that add a soft, delicate touch to our dream room photography at our studio. High school senior girls drive from as far as 50 or 60 miles because we have a dream room in our studio, and the sheer drapes and the plumes add that nice touch that they like. On the portrait on the right, we also added a gel, a red gel, to the background behind the sheer drapes to give it that special effect and to match the delicate pink in the girl's gown. Let me tell you about one of the more fun and more interesting little gadgets I've got around my studio. I used to do a lot of pipe pictures with smoke coming out of the pipe, backlit, and I really liked them, but I always had trouble with the subject getting the smoke to come out just exactly like I wanted it. So what I've done is I took the pipe, I drilled a little hole here in the bottom, and I put in a little bulb air cord release insert, and I just attached the little bulb release cord to that, and it's about 10 or 15 feet long. And what I do now is I just smoke the pipe at the camera. I've plugged the stem of the pipe with glue, and for them to be able to smoke it, they'd have to suck their eyeballs out first. So I smoke it at the camera, and all I do is get the thing set up, and we get the pipe lighted up, and I smoke it through this cord, and then I have the subject hold their breath, and then I blow on it, and when the smoke gets to be just perfect, I make the exposures. It's really created some delightful photographs for me, and I'd like to share the idea with you. You try it. I know you're just going to have fun with this one. Take a catalog into your studio. You know, photographers spend lots of money and drive thousands of miles to learn a new pose. They're all right there in any Montgomery Ward, Sears and Roebuck, any commercial catalog. Flip through that, and it'll give you ideas on every conceivable kind of pose that you can ever imagine. I keep one handy, and anytime I need a little refresher or a different idea, I'll just go through it, pick one out, and we'll do it. It's dynamite. Let's bring a bed into our studio. There's just a lot of things we can do with a bed. I have one here made of 1/4 inch and 1/4 PVC pipe. We made it with 12 T's and 8 elbows, and about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 extra pieces of straight pipe, which can be adjustable. If you want a higher bed, just make them adjustable, and you've got a higher bed. You can take this bed into people's homes if you want to, and use it in many different ways. It's approximately 6 feet long. It ends up to be about 18 inches high here, but you could have a set of 18-inch legs. You could put a set of 2 feet legs. Now, there's just a piece of plywood with some cleats on it to make sure that it doesn't fall off the bed. I don't want your customer falling off and getting hurt. They might sue you for a couple of million. I can put this together in 1 minute and 45 seconds. Now, this just velcros to the board. It can be a nice champagne color to go with this background, or go in the dream room, or it can be a nice red to go with boudoir type photography, and to go with our boudoir background. That just clips on there, and then we put on the champagne. This little reversible flap comes down, and you've got the white bed. You don't have to do just boudoir with the bed. There are many things you can do with it. Take a pillow and just some little satin sheets, satin cloth, and you can use it that way for children, for bedtime stories. You can use it for romantic photographs of couples. So we've got our boudoir background in place. Now all we have to do to complete the project is do a little flip to match the background, get it straightened there, turn our front piece around, Velcro it right on, do a little adjusting, and our boudoir set is complete. How's this for boudoir, folks? Every studio should have a good luck pose. In our studio outside, I have this big tree that has 3 big trunks on it. And we also have this arch, and we call them our good luck tree and our good luck arch. Here's how we do it. I'll be outside photographing a senior, and I'll say, hey, you want to have good luck the rest of your life? And of course they say yes, and they know I'm only joking. And I'll say, go climb in that tree. I'll take a photograph of you. You put the photograph on your wall in your bedroom, and you'll have good luck the rest of your life. I'll guarantee it. Or I work the arch the same way. You go stand underneath that arch, put that portrait on your wall, and you'll have good luck the rest of your life. Here's what happens. Mom's in the sales room. She says, you know, he said he wanted an 8x10 of this one. I don't know, he said something about good luck the rest of his life. I don't understand it, but let's go ahead and order the 8x10. What that amounts to is just another add-on order, and that's kind of lucky for us. Hi, glad you can join me. I'm just making another vignette for my camera out of a gallon plastic milk jug panel. We just cut out the side, just cut a hole in there anywhere you want to, and you can use it on your camera for low-key vignetting as long as you keep the light off from striking the vignetter. Now, if you want to paint them black or brown or any color, they work great. Make them any size, any style, whatever you want. The beauty of this is that they're treated to withstand extremes of temperature, heat, and cold, and it's something you're just going to throw away anyway. So that's what makes it pretty nice. And if you want to make a high-key vignetter, you just take a clear plastic cut the side out of it, serrate it, start sanding with sandpaper on the outside till you get the amount of translucency that you want, and sand very gently in the center, or you can even leave the center clear, put a little Velcro on it, put it on the front of your camera, and on a high key situation, you want to keep the lens, the fabric off your lens shade so that the light can strike that vignetter and give you a nice high key vignetting. It just works really great. Let your subject pose himself for one pose during the sitting. After you've got a nice series of poses done, turn to your subject and say, Kevin, I'd like to have you do one yourself. That's all yours, a pose for you yourself. See this barn board over here? I'd like to have you just go over there and pose yourself as though I weren't even around, okay? Go ahead and do it now. Okay, so Kevin has gotten in his pose. Now, several things might happen. Kevin might get into a dynamite pose, and we can learn something. Kevin might get into a lousy pose, and we can learn something from the lousy pose. Or Kevin might get into a typical normal pose, and we may not learn anything, but we can photograph this and let Kevin know that it's his pose and that he's done a beautiful job. Regardless of what has happened, we're going to compliment Kevin on his pose. Kevin's got some problems here with his pose, but in an ordinary situation, here's what I would do. Kevin, beautiful, excellent job of posing yourself. Just super. Let's take this, but let's see if we can just maybe turn you just a little bit here and there. What I'm going to do is analyze this pose as though I would be speaking to myself or thinking to myself. Kevin's got into this position. He's got a very high shoulder. He's got one shoulder here, the other one way down here. So if we draw a line across here, he's simply, the prop is too tall for him. So let's correct that. Kevin, I think you've done a beautiful job. It's not your fault at all, but I think maybe if we would just raise you a little bit, I'll tell you what, let's do. Let's put a book under this left foot. Okay? Now let me point out something else before we complete our revision of the pose. Kevin has got kind of spraddle-legged there. We've got the open crotch, which is not always the best, and we've got a trap in here, which is also a problem. Kevin, now that we have got you up just a little bit, go ahead and put your weight right on that foot, and go ahead and just put your foot right up here. Now we've corrected the problem. Kevin doesn't even know that we've changed it that much. See, we've just raised him and elevated him, and that wasn't his fault. Okay, Kevin, let's just have you lean right back, and we'll bring this arm right in here, and I think that would work right up there, and we'll have you looking right into the camera. And now we've got you in a dynamite pose, Kevin. Your pose. You did this yourself. It's great. You should feel good about this. I'll make a photographer out of you in no time. We'll make a couple exposures, and here's what'll happen. In the sales room, Mom will look up at you and say, well, I don't know. He said he wanted an 8x10 of this. He said something about this was his pose. So we've had fun. Kevin's got a dynamite pose, and we've added something to our sale. Try it. You'll love it. When you get to feeling stale, just grab that camera equipment, jump in the car, and let's get out of the studio. I do this frequently. Here's an example of one of my little excursions. I was driving along, and I looked to the left, and I saw this old farmer sitting in his door of his barn. So I pulled in, and I asked the farmer if he would mind if I photographed him, and he said he didn't. So we just did a series on him. I photographed him from a distance, and then I thought it would be kind of neat just to do a kind of a documentary on him. And I just kept coming in closer and closer, and when we got in real close, I noticed I was struck by his hands, big, strong, puffy hands. And a fly was sitting on his hands even. And so we did some real strong close-ups of him. It was a day that I truly enjoyed, and the portraits that I got from that sitting are just very memorable. Pack that camera equipment up every now and then and get out of the studio. We all need it. Can't do anything but challenge us. Bring a mirror into your studio. You can create some exciting different things if you use a mirror. Let's talk a little bit about the set here. We've got some plumes in the background. It's going to be a horizontal composition. We're going to use the mirror, and this brings up a point we have to be cautious about. There are two backgrounds to contend with when you use a mirror in a portrait. You have the overall background behind the subject, but you also have the background that reflects in the mirror. You need to be careful what's in both backgrounds, and you also need to make sure that both backgrounds are illuminated. So let's go ahead and pose our pretty model Maureen. And what we'll do is we'll have you lean right back in there, Maureen, and we'll just let the head come back, and we may adjust that head position just a little bit. We want to have a profile here. We want to have about a 3/4 here, 3/4 profile. We'll bring a flower up to give her something to look at. We're going to create a kind of a mood piece here. So I'll have your eyes down on the flower, Maureen. You're doing great. We're going to roll this hand around so that we catch the pretty edge of it. We're going to break this wrist back, okay? And then we'll just let Maureen look at the flower there. And we'll light the composition, and we'll have you bring your hands up just a little bit, Maureen. We'll bring our main light in here. And all we want to do, we want to keep the light off the mirror. We want to bring that light in and just cast a nice little strip of light across the frontal plane of Maureen's face. And then we'll go ahead and we'll feather our fill. Okay, that's looking good. And now we'll drop in our vignetter and our diffuser combination. And there we have a lovely portrait, and we would make an exposure right there. And then we'd have Maureen look at that flower, tip your head just a little toward the mirror, Maureen, and just a littlest, tiniest little heavenly smile. Beautiful. Right there is another exposure. Try extreme angles. In this series, we show the model from a high angle, which creates a kind of a pleasing portrait. Then we go around to the side, and we find that if we explore the pose, the same pose with a slight modification creates a beautiful profile. If we continue to explore the pose and use our creative technique of extreme angles, we find this intriguing, mysterious, dramatic shot where the eye peeks through the wicker chair lattice and you have the strong diagonal across her face. To conclude the series, we discover that if we get very, very low on the subject, we also learn that intriguing portraits and beautiful portraits can be made. Take a hat into your studio. I have about 40 or 50 hats in my studio, and I use them every day. After Maureen here has a nice sitting, the last one we want to do is the hat photograph. She can have her choice of several different hats. The hats I got just by advertising for used hats. I got this little fur collar at a salvage store for $5. I bought the coat, took the collar off of it, and sold the coat back to them. Now, when you do these type things, they work out really well for dramatic impact type portraits. And if you want to add a little more drama to them, you can always put in a gel. Now, in this case, we'll just use an amber gel. We'll put it right on the background light, and that's what you end up with. It's dynamite. It creates different new and exciting proofs for your portfolios, and your customers will love it. One of the poses we do with children is the peekaboo pose. We love to get them back behind the barn board and just play games with them. You know, children have been playing peekaboo most of their lives, so it's quite natural for them to do this. They enjoy it, I enjoy it, and it produces some very, very nice portraits. It also is something that's you can use in a character study to add mystery and intrigue to the portrait, as we have done here in this character study, where we are kind of trying to depict or portray an individual who's reticent or doesn't want to be photographed. Bring a pillow into the camera room. This portrait demonstrates that particular idea, an idea that is bound to force you out of that rut that we sometimes get into. Let's bring the house lights up, and we'll take a look at this pose. We'll bring the lights up. By the way, this is a pose you can do very easily with the master rail system, because the lights were both suspended over the subject. We used just a little tickle in the hair with a hair light, and then we lit it with a 16-inch parabolic. Let's get our subjects up, the handsome Kevin and the lovely Becky, and let's see what we have under here. Gee, a pillow that we picked up in any store. This is a demonstration of what one little prop can force you to do. It can force you to create a way to use it that is acceptable. The portrait that we have seen here for Kevin and Becky is a delightful portrait, an artistic portrait, one that they would love to have on the wall in their home. Try it. Get a pillow. Work with it in many different ways. Pose a family without any props at all. This will not only be a challenge to you, but you will discover an exciting new style of photography that will be really nice. The particular pose that we're looking at here is a 30 by 40 canvas that hangs in the customer's home. A little secret in doing this is to start with one person and add each individual one at a time, just as though you were going to photograph them individually, and just make sure that each pose would look good if you were to photograph each person individually. Bring a balloon into your studio. A toy that child loves most is a helium-filled balloon. If you're having problems with a rambunctious young child, you just get a helium tank and some balloons, you fill up one of those and let them play with it, and I guarantee you the results will be spectacular. The little girl on the left, we tied a helium balloon to the arms of her little Raggedy Ann doll so both the dolly and the little mommy could play with it. The one on the right we call, it's a tough job, but someone's got to do it. And this boy had his little doggy come in, and that little doggy would lie right down beside that little boy. Just check those balloons out, and I think you'll find it an interesting and different feature to your photography. Bring your favorite indoor prop outside or your favorite outdoor prop inside. These are a couple of crazy ideas that'll help motivate you and stimulate you to do different things. The first time I ever thought of the idea, I was out in my outdoor studio one winter day, and I ran across this old barrel that had been sitting out there all winter, just rusting away, and I thought, gee, that's a shame. I'm going to take that little barrel in there and work with it. So I brought the barrel in and I used it in several different ways. Then I got to thinking, well, if the barrel worked great, let's go out and see what else I've got out there. So I went out, and on the old wagon was this rope hanging there, and it was just weathering away too. So what I did was I brought it in and began to use it. Then I decided, well, doggone it, if that was going to work so well, I decided I would just go bring the whole side of the barn, the gate, and everything in, and I've been using them ever since. So one of the crazy ideas that you can use to get out of the camera room rut, to do different things, is look around outside to see what you can bring from the outside in to stimulate you, motivate you, and create better photographs for Kevin and other handsome young men like him. Let your subject sit on the floor. Who says that we always have to have them sitting on a chair or standing beside a prop? Ask them to sit on the floor. It creates a kind of a casual look. And I find in my home that my children spend half their lives on the floor. So why not capture this in their portfolios and give them sort of a contemporary, relaxed, natural atmosphere? 10 shots, no props. That'll stretch you. Let's take our pretty model Marine and let's go on and start on the floor, Marine. So we'll let you lie down right on your tummy. Atta gal. Let's bring the feet up, cross the ankles, point your toes at the ceiling. And we'll got 2 watches on today, huh? And here's our first one right there. You can turn a little more toward the camera, Marine. Just swing the body a little more. Knees together. Atta gal. Point the toes at the ceiling, looking right at that camera, and we'll make one. That's it. And just say, boyfriend. Boyfriend. Beautiful, right there. There's our first one. We'll step quickly in, and we'll have Marine just roll over on her right side. Oh, left side's fine. Just roll right over on your elbow. Come down on the elbow, like so. Bring this foot up, the knee up, I'm sorry. Okay, now just let the foot go on out, okay, and like so. And there's our second one. And we'll step back. We'll make an exposure, eyes right in the camera, Marine. Atta gal. Good. Second exposure, number 2. Now, the next one will come in just like this. Go right on back down, Marine. And we'll come in nice and strong, picking up this area right in there. So we'll come right in, looking right in the camera, Marine. Down just a little, I guess, with our camera. That's it right there. Say money. Money. Okay, good, right there. Beautiful, you're doing great. Now, we'll let you sit right on your hunches there. You're fine right there? No, just right on the... Bring this out here. turn just a little bit. I'll do these quickly. We'd pay a little bit more attention to the clothing things if we were actually doing a sitting, just a demonstration here. Okay, eyes right up in the camera, Marine. Tip your head a little to your right. That a gal. Right there. There's our next exposure. Then we're going to go right up on the knees. And we'll turn you just a little bit, like so. We'll bring this hand back, that hand up. Our next exposure right there. Okay, right there we go. Now, a very simple one. Hands on the hips. Good. And our next exposure. Good, right there. Then we'll have you stand. Then we'll have you put your weight on your back foot. Relax that. Okay. Now, we'll just do kind of a little model's pose where we'll have you put your hand right down here. Bring the hand around back. Looking at the camera. Beautiful, right there. Good. Now, we'll have you shift the weight from one foot to the other. Bring this hand out. Put your hands right in your pockets. Great, right there. Super. Now we're going to do one where we'll just have you cross your arms. Super. Looking good. Our next exposure. Okay. Now we'll do one here where we'll just have you reach up, flip your hair back like so. Okay, that's it. Looking right in the camera now. Good. Okay. 10 shots, no props. A few years ago, I was doing a sitting with a young child. We just weren't getting anywhere. We just couldn't get the expression that we wanted. Mom was getting nervous, I was getting nervous, and the child was getting nervous. And I told Mom, I said, why don't we just take her shoes off? So Mom did, and it made all the difference in the world. Mom relaxed, I relaxed, the child relaxed, and from there on, it was a beautiful, beautiful sitting. So I've made it a point from there on out to do a few exposures in every sitting with the child's bare feet. It really adds a dimension to it, and I think a naturalness to it. It helps the child relax. After all, a child's born barefooted, so why not capture a few of those delightful poses during the sitting? I love to do this type portrait. I love to find characters around the area, and I'm sure you have many in your area too. I love to invite them in, let them come into the studio, often in their own attire, to kind of capture their own personality. Truck drivers, got an old hermit who lives near me that I invite in occasionally to do character studies. They get a big kick out of it. They enjoy it. It keeps my creative interests alive, and they make beautiful, beautiful portraits, very striking portraits to use in our displays in our restaurants around the area, in our mall displays. People talk about them, and it's just something that I enjoy, the public enjoys, and the characters who come in seem to really enjoy. Bring a new prop into the studio. Let's review this pose now. And when we finish, you may want to rewind and look at it over again. The first thing we want to do now is we break this pose down and examine it a little bit and see how the props helped us in the studios. Remove the vignetter, and let's bring up the room lights, and let's talk about the props that we brought into the studio. One of the ideas is bring a new prop into the studio. Now we bring one in, what are we going to do with it? Well, we decided to set up a pose here with my friend Jim, and one of the props was a gun. So this is how we decided to set up a kind of a little character study with the gun. We used a book to kind of elevate Jim's elbow, and one of the other props that we used was a rock. So we used two new props in the studio in this idea, and we came up with a dynamite portrait. And let's see what happens when we take everything away and see what Jim looks like without the props. Take away the weeds in the background. He was out shooting bad guys or hunting coyotes or something. And then here's what he looked like with everything taken away. An example of how props can help you create in the studio. Isn't that exciting? There's Jim. How about it, Jim? Good hunting to you. Any window will do. You don't have to have beautiful outdoor scenery. Any window will do. Now in this particular pose, I'd like to introduce you to our beautiful model, Becky. Isn't she a doll? Oh, she's just sitting there reading a little Robinson Crusoe on a rainy day. Let's get the rain coming in there now. Okay, there we go. It'll be down there in a minute. We'll get the rain machine on. There we go. A little Robinson Crusoe on a rainy day. Now we get our rain coming down there. There we go. Now we can do an exposure here, and then we can have Becky look out the window and say, oh, how sad it is. Rain on a rainy day. Now our exposure on this is 30th of a second, wide open, which would be 4.5 with the RZ. We'll use a little reflector here to kick the light back in. We got about a 1.5 ratio on here with some little flowers back in the background to give it a little texture. Okay, so we've seen how it's done, and we use this window light often. Window light will force you out of that camera room rut because it'll force you to do some thinking. I guess that's about it, and I think I better go out and get the trees in before they get wet. Okay, you can turn off the water, the rain machine now. Now we got to get this forest in here because we don't want that darn thing to get wet, that's for sure. It'll ruin it. That's why we call this any window will do. You don't have to have the finest foliage and the finest scenery outside to do a photograph like this. To have beautiful outdoor scenery out of a window, all you have to do is have a window and a 30 by 40 print with maybe a little Velcro on it to attach it to your window, and everything's ready. Hey, I hope you've enjoyed these ideas to get you out of that camera room rut, and I hope you'll use them. You know, I know if you use them, here's what you'll find. You'll find out you'll start off every sitting and end up every sitting with a big bang.